Hello and welcome back to the Argyle Financial Controller Leadership Forum. My name is Michael with Argyle. A couple of notes before I turn things over to our esteemed speaker. First, a quick reminder to stop by our sponsors' virtual booths at any time during today's event and for the following week. Our partners are committed to providing you with valuable content and a great overall experience. At any time during today's event, you can visit their virtual booths from the main agenda page, which include complimentary materials, information, and meet and greet opportunities. To ask questions throughout the session, simply type into the Q&A chat, and we will address your questions at the end of the session. And now, without further delay, I'd like to introduce our speaker, Jason Brisbane, Senior Manager, Product Marketing with HighRadius. We're excited to have Jason for his thought leadership presentation titled Best Practices for State-of-the-Art Controllership. Jason, welcome back. So happy to have you here today. Welcome, and over to you.
Thank you, Michael. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for today's discussion in regards to best practices for state-of-the-art controllership. And just to give a quick drive-by on today's agenda, I'll kick things off by having a quick discussion on today's business environment. And then from there, we'll discuss evolving accounting technologies. Following that, I'll review some strategies for state-of-the-art controllership, and then give some examples of the HighRadius approach. And following that, I'll turn things over to Michael for our Q&A. So with that, let's get started. So when we think about today's business environment, I think we can all agree, we've all been a part of discussions as controllers, in general, but we can't deny that inflation is currently a major factor in business. And this slide here points to a recent KPMG survey that points to businesses and the overall thought that inflation is going to persist longer than we may have expected and longer than our consumers currently view the length of time of inflation. So inflation is going to be an ongoing factor in our current business environment, as well as our short-term future into 2023. Now, with that said, how can we combat inflation? A recent article by Forbes points to that inflation, we can face it by establishing end-to-end actionable visibility in regards to business process, function, cost category, and business unit. Us as accounting professionals, we have a unique seat in the room in regards to helping the organization across in terms of helping deliver those actionable insights and being and having an important seat at the table in regards to navigating companies through this dynamic business environment as inflation continues at this time. So with that said, we should think about where do we most spend our time. And I really like this slide. I think it really points to, based on how business processes are set up within the organization, how the finance and accounting team is structured, what systems that they're using. This slide kind of points to just getting us to think about, hey, where do we most spend our time? Are we spending our time at the bottom of the pyramid, processing line item transactions, or do we have the systems in place to spend a lot of our time at the top of the pyramid in regards to financial planning and strategic planning? Those are going to be the key parts of where we spend our time to help navigate our organizations throughout this dynamic business environment. So just a takeaway, something for us to think about. Ideally, we want an environment where we can spend our time at the more top of that pyramid, focusing on financial planning and strategic planning activities. So in general, I think we can all agree in regards to controller top priorities, the things that we need to focus on, things that, hey, may keep us up at night. First, digital adoption, adopting technologies that's going to allow us to get to that point of actionable insights to help drive strategic decisions within the organization, to be a great business partner within the business units of our organization, to help navigate the company's strategic initiatives accordingly. And then additionally, in our role, thinking about risk management, leveraging technologies like AI to navigate risk. When we're able to embrace technologies such as AI, that's going to free up time and capacity for us to focus on things that matters most. And with that, additionally, business process optimization, looking for ways to optimize business processes within the organization, to where, again, the company is running as a smooth engine to navigate and drive the organization strategy. And so how can we achieve that? That's going to be, we can leverage the current evolving accounting technologies to get to that point to address the controller's top priorities that was mentioned in the previous slide, but then also move us to the top of the pyramid in regards to focusing more time on financial planning and adding strategic value within the organization. So it's going to be technology such as cloud that allows us to have all of our data in one place, and also allowing us, regardless of time zone and location, to access the necessary data. Technologies such as robotic process automation, or RPA, that can automate those mundane manual tasks that can, again, free up time and capacity to allow us as CPAs, as accounting professionals, to focus on what matters most. Additionally, AI, as I previously mentioned, leveraging machine learning to do reviews of past transactions, for example, to identify anomalies that may require decision making. That can help us save time in regards to auditing transactions versus, a more manual process of having to review each transaction accordingly. We can leverage AI to just ping us, give us an alert when there's something that should be reviewed. And lastly, package applications, and I'll go further into those when we discuss HighRadius, but it's an entire software suite that embeds the before mentioned technologies to help the finance and accounting team get to the top of the pyramid that I previously mentioned. So with that, we're at our first poll question for today. So which technologies do you utilize today? A, robotic process automation, RPA. B, business intelligence or reporting tool. C, artificial intelligence and or machine learning. Or D, all of the above. So in reviewing the responses, it looks like a high percentage of us, 67%, are using a business intelligence and reporting tool. That is actually really great to hear, because that is needed, obviously, in today's business environment, and as things continue to change. Following the 67%, looks like we have a tie at artificial intelligence and robotic process automation, and 14%, which I like to see, are using all of the above. So thank you again for the responses. So now let's discuss state-of-the-art controllership and what exactly are the components of state-of-the-art controllership. So state-of-the-art controllership, to have that cutting edge state-of-the-art, to be able to enable business agility, to make critical decisions within the organization, we need a connected, collaborative, and continuous environment. And what that means is, in regards to connected, we need a primary system to review all transactions, to connect data, processes, and people, to eliminate data roadblocks and bottlenecks. You know, if we're in separate files in Excel, we're having to gather information. One, we're going to run into version control issues, but then two, we're going to have issues as far as connecting the people within the organization that are key stakeholders as far as those critical business decisions. But then also collaboration is going to be a struggle. And again, we need that collaborative environment. We need to have a workflow when we're connected, to have the necessary players that are part of those strategic decisions, to see the data real time, to make those critical decisions. And then additionally, we need a continuous environment. You know, when you think about month end and quarter end close in our current environment, and I would expect this to continue regardless of, you know, inflation or inflation not existing, we need a continuous environment to review actionable insights and make strategic decisions to support the business in real time. So when I think about state-of-the-art controllership, it's essentially those 3 C's. We need to be connected. We need that environment to be collaborative. And we also need to conduct continuous accounting to continuously navigate organizations accordingly in regards to driving their strategic initiatives. So what are some strategies that we can deploy today to help us achieve state-of-the-art? Well, the first would be automating repetitive tasks where available, leveraging technology such as robotic process automation to automate those mundane tasks, to give time back, to get time back within our teams so they can focus on what matters most. And then additionally, we need to create an environment to centralize and collaborate. We need a centralized workspace to record all transactions, but then also allow an environment to where our users, our finance and accounting professionals, can review and approve work accordingly and deliver accurate, actionable insights. And finally, embrace AI, leveraging machine learning. And through that enables continuous accounting to review transactions as they occur and identify anomalies to be addressed. And that review can occur with minimum human intervention, but we can address them before the month end close, before they become material, and adjust accordingly. So those are kind of 3 key things that I will point to in regards to achieving state-of-the-art controllership. So now we're at our second polling question. What is the most challenging part of financial close? A, gathering all the data. B, analyzing the data. Or C, finalizing the numbers. So it looks like we have our responses in. This is really exciting to see. So it looks like the top was 44% of us says that analyzing the data is the most challenging part. And I'm going to make an assumption that that's due to time. You know, the time that it takes for us to put everything together probably has an impact on us having the time and the capacity to analyze the data. But second, at 35%, is the task of gathering all the data, followed by C, 17%, and finalizing numbers. Thank you for the responses here. So how can HighRadius help? I want to spend the next few slides just talking about our approach in helping organizations achieve state-of-the-art accounting. So when you think about the HighRadius solution, autonomous accounting, what we do is we build that connected, collaborative, and continuous environment for finance and accounting teams to have the latest and greatest, to be able to make strategic decisions, but then also deliver actionable insights within the organization. And how we do that is our platform connects to your ERP, HR, and CM data, as well as bank and payroll data. And then from there, through that connected environment, we're able to review transactions. The data's in one place for account reconciliations, but then also leveraging AI and machine learning to review transactions to determine, hey, is this a good transaction? Do we need to review this for potential anomaly? And if so, let's address it. And there you see in this next slide here, once we're able to bring the transactions into a connected environment, we can identify anomalies, we can address those anomalies, but then also within the environment, make according journal entries and post those back into the ERP, all within staying within the HighRadius autonomous accounting workflow. So when that's accomplished, what does success look like? That can result into up to a 40% reduction in closing the books. So if it's taking you 10 days to close the books, we can reduce that within 6 to 5 days. I previously mentioned account reconciliation. The solution's ability to process high volume transactions and do it continuously can result in 70% improvement in accounts reconciled before close. I also mentioned the connectivity to the ERP. So with that, you'll see a reduction in manual entries, because as things need to be corrected, we can book the adjusting entry and send it back for posting within the ERP. We don't have to leave the connected environment. So I believe this is our final polling question for today. What are the benefits of automating accounting processes? A, reduced errors. B, increased efficiency. C, improved compliance. Or D, all of the above. I love the responses here. So I see that 65% says all of the above, and I completely agree. When we're able to automate, we get all of the above listed benefits that are very critical for us as finance and accounting professionals to deliver value within the organization. So I wanted to close things out by sharing some customer stories from the HighRadius team and what the team has been able to accomplish in regards to delivering value. Here you see Staples have been able to reduce DSO, reduce average days delinquent, again, by delivering those actionable insights and providing the finance and accounting teams with the necessary data to make actionable business decisions. Additionally, our customers have received up to 75% allocation to repurpose to additional tasks. Again, kind of pointing to what I mentioned before, reducing that manual effort And then additionally, that frees time and capacity to focus what matters most to the organization. And how we do it by delivering a one tech platform for the office of the CFO. I've mentioned throughout this presentation, the autonomous accounting solution, where we have financial close modules, as well as account reconciliation and anomaly management. But additionally, we're able to address the critical jobs to be done for the CFO team via autonomous treasury and autonomous receivables. And so with that, I will now turn it back over to Michael for our Q&A.
Thank you, Jason, for an insightful presentation. And as a reminder, audience members can still enter questions. We're now going to review some of the questions that came through. Okay, Jason, so our first question is a long one. Here we go. In a post-COVID-19 world, teams are fragmented and require full flexibility to contribute to business success. How can financial controllers harness digital technology and support automation in a way that it maximizes efficiencies across accounting and operations and effectively prepares their organization for the future?
Great question. I think the top two would be one, embracing cloud technology, having data accessible via the cloud, but then also a connected workspace. As was mentioned in the question, various people and departments are fragmented. We need a centralized place to where we can all communicate, but then also grab the latest and greatest. When I think about traditional accounting, and I think back to my career at the beginning as a practitioner, I would often, run reports from the general ledger and export it to Excel. And essentially that's a snapshot in time. Given that things move so fast, given that we're operating in different locations and time zones, we need a connected environment to access the latest and greatest. But then also, when we have the latest and greatest, are we set up to make what I would call agile adjustments accordingly? So I would say the top two would be embracing cloud technologies, but then also having a connected workspace where the pros in the room, us as finance and accounting professionals, can access that data and make adjustments accordingly.
Excellent. Thank you, Jason. Our next question: is it still possible for smaller organizations that don't have the resources for a centralized workspace to utilize automation?
Yes, it is. And what I would recommend is leveraging solutions that provide package applications. I think it's very critical for smaller organizations, given that, I started my career in finance and accounting at a large Fortune 100, and we had large teams, and each team would own a piece of balance sheet or income statement. Smaller organizations are going to have finance and accounting professionals that are encompassing broad jobs to essentially get it done. And I think it's really important to leverage package out applications such as HighRadius. I don't mean to answer that question with plugging HighRadius, but a solution that addresses all of the technology, a solution that connects to all the essential transaction points, but then also brings the data into a connected environment for review, but then also has everything in one place to make adjusting entries. I think it's all that much more important to free time and capacity as much as possible in smaller organizations. And I think that can be accomplished by leveraging package solution providers such as HighRadius.
Thank you. Our next question: how do you engage existing longtime employees into newer business applications and usages?
I think it really points to evangelizing the business case. Also with the notion of, hey, automating doesn't impact jobs. When we automate, we're not necessarily, eliminating jobs. When we're automating, we're getting things to a point where we can do what we're academically trained to do. I think that's, when I think about automating, when I think about evolving technologies, that's one concern early that a lot of people come across like, hey, am I automating my job away? No, it does not. I like fitness. And what I say, I would use a fitness example in that, hey, if you go to a brick and mortar gym, and if you go at, let's say, 5 p.m., you want to use the bench press and you have to wait until the bench press is available. And then at that point, when you get the bench available, you have to load the weights up, rack it before you even begin the bench press. When I think about solutions such as HighRadius, it's more like newer technology such as tonal, where I can just hit a button and at my desired weight, the weight is ready and I can just go in and lift. And that's what the newer technology is doing. We can really just get to the point of us doing critical work right away without a lot of setup and a lot of, going through logistics just to get to the point of being able to execute the job.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, our next question. Since AI and ML have been pushed as effective tools in managing digital data, do you feel the ROI on implementing these technologies is enough to convince C-level executives to buy in?
Yes, I believe so. The ability to leverage machine learning to review transactions over time and point the pros in the room, the finance and accounting team to, hey, take a look at this transaction. Maybe it needs an adjustment, maybe it doesn't. I think that it does a couple things. One, it frees time and capacity for the team that actually have to do a manual, granular transaction view, but then also identifying anomalies and issues before they become material. So I think it's a great value because, again, when we can leverage technologies to do manual tasks, it frees us up as finance and accounting professionals to focus on strategic work that may keep the CFO and the leaders up at night. We're free to now spend more time on those tasks. So I definitely think it does in terms of those two buckets that I would say: freeing time and capacity, but then also identifying potential anomalies before they become too material at a quarter end or month end review.
Excellent, thank you. So we have time for one last question. What finance operation functions have you observed greatest consistent automation returns on investments, such as receivables and payments?
I have both receivables and payments, especially in regards to anomaly, identifying transactions that should be reviewed. Additionally, reporting, and I would actually rank that fairly high in that through the process of automated account reconciliations, as well as anomaly detection, finance and accounting teams are able to get to what I would call like a final accurate point a lot faster than traditional manual work. And oftentimes I've experienced it myself where business partners are wanting answers, and then it's like, hey, I need to go back and run the numbers, and that can take some time. So just reducing that time span of, hey, let me go run the numbers before I answer, just having like what I would call on-demand actionable insights.
Thank you, Jason. That's all the time we have for this session. And thank you so much for an insightful presentation. I also want to thank everyone for joining us today for a fantastic thought leadership. Now, this session, along with all of today's content, will be available on demand following the event. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Michael.